In 2014, Facebook paid $19 billion for a company with 55 employees and zero revenue. Wall Street called it insane, but 5 years later, that purchase had 2 billion users. What did Mark Zuckerberg see that no one else did? The answer is a concept so powerful, it has created more billionaires than any other force in business history. It's called the network effect. And if you're building a startup or thinking about where to put your money, understanding it isn't optional. It's survival. Here's the core idea. A network effect happens when a product becomes more valuable as more people use it. Think about the telephone. When Alexander Graham Bell made the first call in 1876, the telephone was worth almost nothing. Who would you even call? With 2 phones in existence, the network had exactly 1 connection. Add a third phone, 3 connections. Add 10 phones, 45 connections. Add 1 million phones, and you have nearly 500 billion possible connections. This is what mathematicians call Metcalfe's law. The value of a network grows with the square of its users, not linearly, exponentially. And here's the critical insight. The most valuable companies on Earth, Google, Meta, Amazon, Uber, did not just build products, they built networks. According to NFX, a venture firm that tracks this data, 70% of all value created in tech since 1994 has come from network effect businesses. But here's what most startup founders miss. Not all network effects are equal. There are 4 distinct types, and they create very different competitive moats. The first is direct network effects. The more users join, the more valuable the network becomes for every existing user. Messaging apps, phone networks, and social media run on this. Every new person on WhatsApp makes it more useful for everyone already there. The second is indirect network effects. Growth on one side of a platform benefits the other side. Think about iOS. More iPhone users attracted more app developers. More app developers created better apps. Better apps attracted more users. Apple didn't just sell phones. They built a 2-sided marketplace where both sides feed each other. Microsoft did this with Windows in the 90s, and it gave them a near monopoly for 2 decades. The third is the data network effect, and it's the most powerful type for the AI era. Every search you do on Google teaches Google something. With billions of searches every day, the algorithm gets smarter with every single query. A new search engine, even with a technically superior algorithm, cannot compete. It doesn't have the data. This is why search has had effectively 1 winner for 20 years. The fourth is social network effects. Networks where value comes from identity and status. LinkedIn is valuable not just because your colleagues are there, but because being on LinkedIn signals professional credibility. These networks are sticky because leaving means losing your professional identity. Let me take you back to 2009. Jan Koum is a 33-year-old Yahoo engineer who just got rejected by Facebook. His co-founder Brian Acton also gets rejected by both Facebook and Twitter. Acton posts on Twitter, "Facebook turned me down, looking forward to life's next adventure." 5 years later, those people who rejected him would pay him $19 billion. Here's what Koum understood that most product builders miss. He was not building an app, he was building a network. Every decision at WhatsApp was made to accelerate network growth. No games, no ads, no distractions. Just messaging, with perfect reliability and near zero cost for international messages. By keeping the product brutally simple, Koum made sure that every incremental user improved the experience for everyone else. When WhatsApp launched in regions where SMS was expensive, India, Brazil, Eastern Europe, it spread like wildfire. Not because of marketing, because of word of mouth driven by pure utility. By 2014, WhatsApp was processing 50 billion messages per day, more than SMS, more than Facebook Messenger, more than iMessage. Facebook's 19 billion wasn't insane, it was defensive. If WhatsApp had been acquired by Google, Facebook would have faced an existential threat. The lesson: Jan Koum didn't go viral. He built a network so essential that people had no choice but to join. Here's the paradox at the heart of every network effect business. If your product is only valuable when lots of people use it, how do you get the first users? This is called the cold start problem. Andrew Chen, the growth expert who went on to lead growth at Uber before joining Andreessen Horowitz, wrote an entire book on it, and he identified a counterintuitive solution: the atomic network. You don't need to win the entire market on day one. You need to find the smallest possible group of users where your product already delivers value. A network small enough to achieve density, but real enough to prove the model. Then you expand. Airbnb didn't launch everywhere. They launched at the 2008 Democratic National Convention in Denver, Colorado, when every hotel room in the city was sold out. 3 air mattresses, 3 guests who couldn't find a hotel, 1 tiny, perfectly atomic network. Uber launched only in San Francisco, only for black cars, only for tech professionals who could pay premium rates. They didn't try to win every city on day one. They won 1 neighborhood and proved the model so completely that expanding became inevitable. Facebook launched only at Harvard, then Ivy League schools, then all colleges. By the time Facebook opened to everyone, it felt less like a new product and more like joining something that already existed. The pattern is always the same. Find the smallest group where your product is indispensable. Make it work perfectly. Let the network effect do the rest. Every network has what economists call a critical mass, the threshold at which the network becomes self-sustaining. Before that point, growth requires constant effort. After it, growth becomes automatic. For Uber in San Francisco, the tipping point came when wait times dropped below 5 minutes. At that threshold, Uber wasn't competing with taxis anymore. It was competing with car ownership. For Facebook at Harvard, the tipping point came when 60% of students were on the platform. At that density, staying off Facebook meant missing conversations happening everywhere around you. The social cost of not being there became higher than the social cost of joining. Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, puts it this way: network effects are like compound interest. In the early days, the gains feel small and the effort feels enormous. But once you hit the tipping point, the math works in your favor permanently. The moat deepens every single day, not because you're working harder, but because the network is growing by itself. This is why venture capitalists bet so aggressively on network effect businesses. They're not paying for what the company is worth today. They're paying for what it will be worth the day after it crosses the tipping point, when the moat becomes effectively unassailable. So how do you actually build network effects into your startup? 3 moves. First, identify your atomic network. Who is the smallest group of people for whom your product creates immediate, undeniable value, even without anyone else using it? That's your beachhead. Launch exclusively there. Make it extraordinary. Don't expand until you've won it completely. Second, make every user a recruiter. The best network effect businesses are built so that using the product naturally involves inviting others. When you use Zoom, you send a meeting link. The recipient installs Zoom. They love it. They send their own links. The product itself does the recruiting. Third, build for the network, not just the user. Every feature should ask, does this make the entire network more valuable, or just this one person? Features that increase individual engagement but reduce interconnection can actually harm a network effect business. WhatsApp's no games policy wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate choice to keep users focused on connecting with each other. The companies that master this don't just build products people love, they build networks people can't leave, because leaving means leaving everyone else behind. Network effects are the single most powerful force in modern business. They're responsible for 70% of all value created in tech. They separate companies worth billions from companies worth nothing. The next time you look at a dominant company and ask, how could anyone ever compete with this?